Hey, this is me building and strategizing a $2 million a year company in public. Last month I made 128,000 in profit. Next month I want to hit 167,000. This is more or less how I'm doing it. And it's simple. We're going to start with some viewer Q&A. Then we're going to do some growth metrics over the last 24 hours, see how much I've gone up. And finally, we'll end with some live strategy. So a little bit earlier than I normally do these. I just woke up. It's like 5 something over here. And the reason why is because I'm heading to Halifax in a moment. So I just need to make sure I don't miss my flight. So we're going to keep this nice and simple. We're going to start with the viewer Q&A, kind of take it from there. We've gotten quite a few questions. The daily updates channel has been blown up recently. Biggest day on record yesterday with 85 subscribers, just as this is now being shown to a lot of my other watchers, like the watchers of the main channel, as well as I'm starting to actually get some new subscriptions to this that I don't have on my main channel, which is crazy. So very exciting, but let's move over to the community and then we'll cover brand stats, everything else after. So I'm not going to be able to answer all of these, obviously, but I am going to go through and give the most relevant ones my best shot. If you have any questions that I haven't covered here and you want me to answer them in maybe a next video, then just leave them down below. So the first one is from Akshay. Let me actually just finish this coffee. Whew, man, that was a big sip. Can you share more tips or make a dedicated video on maintaining the best 2FA procedure? PS, it'd be really helpful as it's a bit challenging depending on the organizational size. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I have made a dedicated video on maintaining the best 2FA procedure before. If you look up Nick Saraev, how to manage an automation project, it's this one right over here. So account setup, 2FA, all that stuff. But I'll give you a quick once over right now because a lot of people talk about this. And I understand that it's one of the most annoying things about doing automation, to be honest. Because if you think about it, like your job as an automation specialist, you kind of like work with 10 platforms or something with a client. Your whole job is predicated on your ability to glue these platforms together. So obviously you're going to have to be signing into these platforms. You're going to have to be maintaining credentials to these platforms. You're going to have to be authorizing these platforms and so on and so forth. So it makes perfect sense that you're asking this. Generally speaking, you're not going to be able to solve this 100% because two-factor authentication is, because we're dealing with so many app platforms here and every app platform is changing. So don't pay attention to the specific tactic here. Pay more attention to like the strategy beneath it. The first thing that I'll do is I'll always do a kickoff call. And a kickoff call is just you have money in hand and you tell the client, hey, awesome, everything sounds great. Why don't we kick off the project tomorrow? We'll have you sign up to some accounts. We're then going to talk about the timelines. And if there are any final last minute questions that you have for me before we get started, we can cover it then. So always do a kickoff call. Now on this kickoff call, come prepared with a list of the accounts that they need to sign up to, as well as the way to do it for each, okay? So you need to know exactly how to sign up to the platforms. You need to know which buttons to click. You need to know which plans to get them on. Also, make sure they do it through email and password, okay? Because there's always multiple ways to sign up to a platform. Nowadays, there's always like Google, right? A lot of the time there's like Facebook. There's, I don't know, sometimes there's like GitHub. So these are the biggest offenders for 2FA. And if you just eliminate the client signing up to stuff with them, and if you tell them, hey, we're going to select the sign up with email and password option here because I need to be able to sign into your account. And if you sign in with Google, it's basically a two-factor authentication screen. I'm going to have to give you a call every time to sort it out. We don't want that. So if you just eliminate this and instead go email and password, this is going to solve like, 80% all instances right here. And then basically what you have is you have a bunch of credentials. You put them in a password management software. So in my case, I use 1Pass. Now, I hate password management software platforms. They suck. They're really annoying. I mean, they're just super, man, I have so many different logins and every time I click a freaking button on any website, the thing will pop, do you want to sign in with this? And it's just a nightmare. But this is one of those things you have to do. You can make this better by organizing them into little folders and vaults and whatever, but that's beyond the purpose of this. Okay, so then what you do is you actually sign in. You sign in right there and you verify that you're good. And I go as far as to say on the kickoff calls, like, hey, one of the main issues with automation is that there's so many platforms And usually, if you ever worked with an automation specialist in the past, two-factor authentication is a big deal. So I like to front load it, just get this all out of the way as quickly as possible, which is why I wanted you to sign up to these platforms today. Right. And when you say stuff like that, well, now you're illustrating like a deep understanding of the field. You're also implying that you've worked with a number of people before. So people are, oh, okay, yeah, this person's a professional. They've obviously done this before. Right? They have a process. I'm just going to trust their process. You always need to have a process. Client's going to look to you for a process. It's sort of like, when I was younger, I went on a date with a really pretty girl, and she had she was like, hey, Nick, what are we doing today? And I was like, I don't know. I did not have a process. Well, that day did not go very well. So I learned after that point, if you're going on a date with some girl for the first time, have some sort of process, right? They want you to feel like you've put the time and energy in to map out the experience for the both of us. So that's kind of like the way that the client views things as well. And then, so that'll cover like 80% of 2FA things. And then after that, you will still get 2FA, because odds are you're going to have to use Google or Microsoft or one of these ecosystem things to like sign into an email or something. But then you can ask the client right there. And so the benefit of being right in front of them is you can say, hey, awesome, I just shot you over a 2FA code. Should be your cell phone ends in 7831. Do you mind just shooting that over to me real quick? And then they're like, oh, okay. They pick it up. Yeah, 38925. Voila, you're done. So a lot smoother than the alternative. What I do there is I then like if it's a bigger project, and what I used to do like every time in the past is I would sign in to 2FA platforms multi-login using multi-login, which is like an anti-detect browser, which basically allows you to store fingerprints. Fingerprint is just like when your browser interacts with the internet, there are all these like headers basically, which are just these tiny little things in network requests. Every time you send any request anywhere, you're always going with a bunch of headers. And you see how it's like, let's go down here. User agent, client data, SEC, CHUA, content length. Sometimes there's some authorizations. And in my case, that's my cookie. But anyway, I think you guys get the point that I'm making. It just fixes those, and it makes it so that it's just like the same browser basically accessing it every time in the same location. That minimizes two-factor authentication requests as well. I get 2FAs down to like their max limit, which is usually like once a month or once every 2 weeks, something like that. Those are probably all the main strategies that I use. And then you know what? You'll still get some two-factor authentication sometime, but because you have like an open communication window with a client, and because in my case, I like working with people on retainer, I like giving them defined windows of availability. Let's say 2 hours of Slack availability from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. PT. You can access me anytime during that period. I'll usually be able to respond to you within 15 minutes or so. Because I give people that, well, that means that if I do need something, I can usually just add it to like the next day's Slack window for availability. Or I could like send them an email and be like, hey, had some trouble getting into X, Y, and Z account today. Do you mind if I shoot you a code at exactly 12 p.m. tomorrow? And now, right, they know that I'm going to be online. I told them I was going to be online. I fit the expectations, and they're just generally a lot happier. And everything's really nice and organized. So that is the wrong channel. This is the right one. Perfect. So I hope that makes sense, like shot. Okay. My man John says, hey, Nick, I love the format of this channel. I'm struggling to see the value prop of business to pay us on retainer aside from lead gen automation, which is obvious. Any insights to how you pitched it before? Yeah. Oh, man, I pitch retainers all the time. Dude, retainers are the whole point of this business model. Bro, you got to do retainers. If you're not doing retainers, you're losing like the vast majority of the income. So do retainers for sure. Retainers are the way to go. What is the value prop for businesses to pay us on retainer? Well, it just aligns incentives. Okay. I had somebody ask this in my weekly office hour just yesterday. So I sort of have like a prepped answer. And that's that if you think about it, okay, so I'm going to start with hourly, because hourly is just the easiest way to conceptualize this. And maybe we can move on to something else after. But if you think about it, before, the way you work with people is you say, hey, you'll work with somebody, let's say you 20 hours in a month, and you charge them $125, right? So basically, over the course of that month, you bill $2,500. However, this is post-pay, so this comes afterwards. Usually, you will do the 20 hours, then you'll submit an invoice at the end of the month or at the end of a couple weeks, or if you're using Upwork, like it'll automatically happen. I think once weekly now, and it's all post-pay. It happens after, right? So post-pay, and the scope is variable, and maybe you're over budget and whatever. And there's no guarantees around your hours. Maybe you up and go to Hawaii for a month in the middle of a project or something. I don't know. Obviously, you shouldn't do that, but this is just the point of it from the client perspective. Okay. So this is before. If you think about the way that a retainer works afterwards, basically, what you do is you'll still give them the exact same thing, but you will package it. So instead of selling one-off 20 hours, you will say, hey, do you want to buy 20 hours as a package? And do you want to buy it ahead of time? If so, I will guarantee you a discount. So now, instead of 125, what you do is you sell it to them for $100 an hour, meaning your total income is $2,000, hypothetically. The difference, though, is this is now prepay. So you get this 100% of the time. You have no waits. You don't have to wait for them to pay an invoice or cross your fingers or hope that they do. This is fixed time. The client knows they're going to have you for that much time. This is budgetable. So they know, okay, I'm just going to budget $2,000 for this a month. You give them a discount and some sort of guarantee with the service. So what does this do? Well, this makes it better for you because you are now getting a fixed amount of MRR every month, which is king. It's the thing that you want in business. Repeat MRR, not starting from zero every month. You also get it prepaid, which is one of the biggest issues with the service model because it's massive. Everybody just post pays net 30, 60, freaking 90 terms or whatever. I work with some crazy projects. Why do you need net 30 in like a digital thing, man? Like it's point and click. There's no time or materials that need to be transported across a thing. Like you see the results of your work instantly. Anyway, I hate net 30. But now everything is 100% prepay. You get it ahead of time. You guarantee it. It's fixed time for you, for the client. Client knows it's budgetable for them. They know they're going to be spending $2,000 a month. It's a simple line item they can write off. And to represent that, you've given them a discount. So basically, both parties win if they're planning on working with each other. And that's a value of a retainer. Now, this is hourly. Aside from hourly, obviously, there are a variety of other ways to do this. And I don't recommend just stopping there. What I do is I will turn this whole thing into a package. Called this packages, subscriptions, whatever, in the past, but just call it a package now. So basically, I will swap it up. So they don't just get the 20 hours now. Now what I do is I actually give them all these additional incentives on top of the retainer. And I say, hey, this is why you should work with me on this. Like I really like doing the one-off projects with you. That's cool. But, I really want to understand your business a lot deeper. I want to align incentives. I want to be able to help you make a lot more. So my packages, they usually look like this. 1 call per week. Now on this call, it's not just a call. You frame it as like a strategy, consultation, whatever. Now, usually when you see strategy or consultation, people are like, oh, this is boring. It's a strategy call. It's a consultation call. It's just another way for them to sell me. But if you're good at what you do, this actually has a ton of value. Like, people pay $1,000 to call with me for an hour. And, you're giving them that every week for free, basically, right? So I guess it depends on the perceived value and your credibility and stuff. But if you're good at what you do and you have demonstrated results, this is really valuable. So on that call, I usually set the tone for the next week, set progress and stuff like that. I do define Slack availability, like I said. Now, the benefit to having like a window, that's kind of sneaky. This is my time, but you do whatever time you want. The benefit to having this window is you actually just get to fit all your clients in that window. And then that's just the only time that you actually need to be by your computer, to type. So you have like 10 clients between 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. They all just send you questions and you just kind of go through one by one and answer them. Then you can just be working aside from that. I actually find this is really important for my personal accountability. As somebody that like leverages their time very effectively and has a bunch of clients on retainer or package or subscription models and who makes a lot of money without really having a big agency in terms of team size myself. This is super, super valuable. And I didn't always used to do this. I started doing this like not even a year ago. I will offer free maintenance. So basically the guarantee is like, hey, if you work with me on retainer, I will maintain all the systems that I built for you in the past at no additional cost, and I don't count that as my time. Then on top of that, you have X like new project hours, basically. And the new project or new build hours, I don't know, let's say 40 new project hours or something. This is only for the new projects that we're building together that we define in the strategy consultation session. So, I mean, if you think about it, right? Like before, okay, let me actually just go 20, just to make it super relevant. If you think about it, before, you were doing 20 hours and you were doing them 1 hour at a time and you got paid $125. So it was like, bang, 125. Okay. Bang, 100. Just got to refresh this because I clicked the magical button, which unfortunately turns off my pen's ability to draw. Oh, that kind of sucks, man. Well, is what it is. Bang, $125 an hour, bang, another hour, another $125, bang, another hour, another $125, right? But now it's like, hey, when you start working with me, you get this big package of, I just have to rewrite this 1 sec. And then 20 hours. For the same amount of time that I was going to work anyway, you also get all these additions thrown in. And because of this, now, you can get back to charging the $125 an hour or more, or substantially more realistically. Like, you can get into your agency charging like $250 or something like that. And you can do so. Sorry, I just continue clicking this button. I guess I'm just a little bit sleepy. But basically, when I click this button on my tablet mouse, it just like locks it or something along that nature. The point I'm making is now you get to charge a bunch of money, which is awesome. And then you get to do it fixed. And then the client sees a lot more value in the retainer and they're a lot more likely to actually want to do it. You don't need to do new project hours. That's what I started with just because it was a much simpler switch from, hourly to new project hours, obviously. But now I just do like unlimited projects and I basically say like, hey, look, I'm your fractional operations guy. I'm your fractional COO. Like if you work with me, I'm going to be present for you in that defined Slack availability window. When we do our consultation, we're going to set a roadmap. And my goal is to, quadruple the money that you spend on me at minimum. Since everything is 100% ROI focused, it becomes quite easy to make that decision. Okay. I'll answer Josh's question here and then I'll just do some brand stats and wrap it up. Josh says, hey, Nick, been inhaling your content the past couple of weeks since discovering your channel. It's great stuff. This kind of work really suits my interest and background. I'm finding myself inundated with info about finding leads and cold emails and sales. This is all stuff I need to learn and get good at eventually, but I'm really just looking for the minimum needed to get my first client. Yeah, nice work, man. What's your recommendation as far as minimum tools needed to start getting clients? Should I put my focus on Upwork until I get some money coming in? Apologies for being long-winded, just trying to figure out where to put my focus so I don't get stagnant and quit. So Josh's approach is perfect. If you are not yet in the automation industry, if you don't yet have an automation business, or if you're not a freelancer, you want to do what Josh is doing. Your only goal should be to go from 0 to 1 as quickly as possible. That's all that you should really care about. So he just wants to get his first client, right? Incredible. Most people that are in Josh's shoes, unfortunately, they try and make this, instead of going from 0 to 1, what they do is they try to go from 0 to like 100 right off the bat. And in reality, the strategies required to go from 0 to 1 are very different than the strategies required to go anywhere to 100. So basically, he's looking for like the minimum viable strategy, if we can think about it that way. You know how everybody talks about minimum viable products? This is minimum viable strategy. And the reason why he's doing it is because he doesn't want to get stagnant and quit, because he understands how important feedback loops are. So Josh, just want to let you know right off the bat, this is the way that I approach this business model. It's the way that you should approach basically any business model in the 2020s, just because of how fast moving everything is. And it's great that you're thinking this. I think you're, I think you got a good head on your shoulders, at least for this. Should I put my focus on Upwork until I get some money coming in? This depends on your financial situation. The quickest path from 0 to 1, in my experience, is just like spamming three methods: the Upwork, the cold emails, and then the communities. And I say spamming like a video game, because really, I mean, like, quality is important in all these, but really it's law of large numbers. If you send out enough Upwork applications using my customized Loom approach, you will inevitably land a job. Like, people land them within their first couple of hours. It's all over YouTube. It's all over, Maker School. If you send enough emails, with like a semi-customized approach using some personalization or whatever, like you will inevitably land people that are interested in getting back to you. It's just a law of large numbers thing. If you message, or I don't know, if you make a post every day in 3 communities for 30 days or something along that nature, you're going to have 30 posts multiplied by the average viewership times the total number of views. You will eventually get somebody that is interested enough to leave comments on those posts and stuff like that. So, the minimum viable strategy. Sorry, my alarm's going off. Minimum viable strategy for getting your very first customer, like Upwork's definitely the easiest for sure. But if you have a few $100, I would probably just go all three. So I would spend, I would spend maybe like 10 or $15 a day on Upwork. I would do applications every day. I would do customized Loom videos where you record a video saying, hey, how's it going? I just came across your post for X, Y, Z thing, while highlighting it so that they know this is like customized. Let me show you exactly how I'd solve this problem. For context, I used to do X, Y, and Z. I used to make all this money for this company. I used to make all this money for this company. I'm not new to automation, but I'm pretty new to Upwork. So I just wanted to give you a comprehensive breakdown to maximize the probability of me getting this job. Here's exactly how I do it. Circle here, circle there, whatever, right? For emails, you want to use one of my offer formulas. You use one of my cold email templates, and then basically find an audience of people, split test 2 or 3 of these audiences against each other, and then just like gauge their reply rates, particularly their positive reply rates on a campaign. And I have, an offer template available. If you just look up Nick Saraev cold email, there'll be a couple of these. So just check throughout the 4-step cold email copywriting system. Ideally, you would personalize it with AI and stuff. And then for communities, you basically just want to find a bunch of communities and niches that you're interested in working in. So I don't know, like videography communities or something, or I don't know, like dental clinic manager communities or something. And then you want to post content that is hyper relevant for those niches. So, if you're in a dental clinic manager community, you want to say something like, hey, I've been working on dental strategies for a while. I just put one really cool one together that I think would have a lot of value for this group. It's called like end of year insurance reactivation. I basically pumped in all my phone numbers into this really simple system that then just left them all a voicemail in December saying, hey, how's it going? You have insurance benefits left. And, this strategy works fantastic. All the clinics that I've used this with is blah, blah, blah. Take it for free and good luck. You give value consistently for a sufficiently long period of time and essentially become an authority in the niche. Obviously, don't be, socially retarded about it or whatever. Don't like sell yourself from day one. Come across as a person that gives value, but very quickly you're in a spot where you can actually start charging for this sort of thing. And yeah, that's the 3 outreach methods. That's probably what I would do. So much appreciated. Thank you, Max. Very, very much appreciated. Well, okay. I'm just going to heart all of the things that are not questions here, just because I want it to be as organized as possible tomorrow. Hisham says, love the fact that you actually tease this channel, saying your previous video and your main channel. Should I do vlogs or record my whole day of working? It might be boring, and here we are. Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Anand. 100%, man. Dude, I'm BC born and raised, but spent 95% of my life in BC. Luke says, I feel like you're my roommate with the amount that I hear your voice, right? So he's got a question there. Cool. Question there. Cool. Question there. Did I move to Calgary? Yeah. I live in Calgary for sure. Yeah, I've lived in Calgary for the last few years. How do I go about hiring? I don't have any hiring. I don't have any roles available on my team that I'm looking for to fill, unfortunately, but I do appreciate you reaching out, Moise. I usually go about hiring. I just like make Upwork posts, or I go through my email addresses that are publicly accessible. And then I just like look for people that have reached out to me offering a specific service. Okay, Akshat, I believe I just responded to that, so just going to heart that. Beautiful. And then Rush says, thank you. Awesome. So I have some great questions that I'm going to get to the next time that I do this. For now, I just want to do some brand stats really quickly. And then, just given times and stuff, I'm going to have to get going to that airport. But let us cover my brand stats. I've grown a lot in the last 24 hours, like a surprising amount. Well, it's not even 24 hours because I filmed my last one like 16 hours ago. So whatever you see here is actually going to be about 2/3 of the real growth over a 24-hour period, which is crazy. So analytics-wise for this channel, I went up to 343 today. So we're up 77, which is crazy. My Nick Saraev IG channel is now at 17,600. Oh, actually exactly 17,600. Very cool. So this is actually probably outpacing yesterday, which is great. Then my main channel is at 51,402. So it's up by another 412. And, let me check that banger video, the one that is kind of going quasi-viral. Oh yeah, and then I recorded another video yesterday called 59 minutes of straight AI automation advice, which is like quite pointed, which I'm pretty excited about. This one is at 7,525, which is great. And it's been, like 30 hours or something since I posted it. Yeah. Tuesday at 7 p.m. It's okay, so maybe a little bit more. Okay, my math isn't so good. What's that? 5, 5, 10, 34. So it's been 34 hours, and we're already up. And again, 131 subs from this. This is obviously driving a lot of interest and traffic, which I'm pretty excited about. What else did I do yesterday? I recorded a podcast with the lovely Matt Larsen, and it's right over here if you guys want to check it out, called the 5 Pod. The idea here is Matt has a ton of he has a few super high intent viewers because he deals specifically with very high income businesses. Like he's consulting with a business that makes $968 million a year right now. Crazy. And I have a ton of lower intent viewers. So people that, like they just really like watching me, but maybe they're not like focused specifically on that high ticket aspect of business. So we thought we'd just do a crossover and make a podcast. Also, I mean, we just talk usually a few times a week anyway. So we basically just riff and bullshit, and we do it on a podcast format, which is exciting. So yeah, I'm just going to do this, and we just wanted to experiment because neither of us have ever really done a long form podcast before. We're going to aim to do this once a week for the next 49 weeks for the full year. And we've already done 4. So, I mean, we've only posted 2. I kind of got off track. I meant to post it the other day, but I just ran out of time. Probably going to have to look for somebody to like help me manage this. But yeah, so it's just going to be, we're 4. So actually we have 48 left. So yeah, feel free to check out the pod if you haven't already. Matt is hilarious, and we have some pretty interesting rapport. So that's that. Man, 16, 17 views in the last 48 hours. Pretty crazy. In terms of strategy for the day, I'm flying. And when I fly, I typically don't get much done. My goal is to, while I'm on the plane, end up picking those Maker School templates that I told you guys that I would do yesterday, which I ended up getting caught up with because I didn't have the time, and I had to do that podcast. I was supposed to do a podcast tonight, but with me flying, it just wouldn't have made sense. So we actually ended up doing that yesterday, and then I just lost track of time, and I was unable to pick those templates from Maker School. So I have to pick those from Maker School, and I have to do it today. There's no other way or time. And I'm just going to sit there in my little exit row seat, and I'll just meditate, and then think through what those are. And hopefully by the end of a 5-hour flight, I will have been able to have at least one cogent thought. For the record, I hate flying, and I just do not have a good time because of it. It's not that I'm, afraid of flights or anything. I'm not. I don't really care. It's just really annoying to be sitting in one spot for that long of a period of time, especially in like a super dry ass environment. I usually get sick, and I don't really like it. Today I'm leaving at a good enough time that it's not terrible. Usually like this is all inundated by the fact that I'm mega sleep deprived, but I'm not mega sleep deprived today. I'm just like kind of minorly sleep deprived. I actually ended up getting a reasonable good amount of sleep last night. So, that's the main thing I'm going to be doing today. In terms of wider strategy, I'm planning on launching an Iman Gadzhi real strategy, like real tactic system. So I think y'all know who this guy is. I didn't until pretty recently. I don't really, I haven't really followed any of these guys before. And I'm not trying to say that because, I'm thinking that I'm better than people or whatever. I just was never one of my content consumption things. Like I just never really, all this business adjacent content, I just never really consumed because I never really cared about it. I was just always out actually knocking on doors or cold calling or whatever. I think there's a lot of value in it. There's probably not a lot of value being like swept into the short form stuff, but there's probably value in like seeing somebody's journey live as it plays out. And from my understanding, Iman Gadzhi actually shows like he used to be pretty poor and he used to struggle a lot with X, Y, and Z. And like you can kind of see that change over time. So I think there's value there. But anyway, so the cool thing about Iman Gadzhi is he has a strategy where basically, how, I see Wells actually following him. You know how like Taylor Swift and whatever have like celebrity fan pages, like fans, usually teenage girls, because let's be real, teenage girls run the world. They usually make Instagram pages. And they're like Taylor Swift fan, Taylor Swift love, Taylor Swift bestie, Taylor Swift reels, whatever. And then it's just like them gushing all over how amazing Taylor Swift is. Well, Iman Gadzhi basically did this, but he did this for himself. He went and he created a bunch of these reels, fans, motivation, whatever, and just slapped those onto the end of the term Iman Gadzhi. And then he linked it back to his main account. And then he just posted like a silly and ridiculous number of reels volume-wise. 2,811 posts on this one, Iman Gadzhi reels. There's tons. Iman Gadzhi motivation, Iman Gadzhi clips, and so on and so forth. And then he basically just grabs all this traffic and he just routes it back to his main account. And he gets massive discoverability because of it. So I'm thinking of doing that. I'm discussing with one editor right now how we'd effectively post about 150 clips a month. across 5 accounts. So not that many, just 1 per day to start, because I'm always just about the dailies. We can figure out, how high to push the volume later. But I'm thinking I start with, 5 or 10 Instagram accounts and 10 YouTube accounts, or no, 5 Instagram accounts, 5 YouTube Shorts accounts, and then just pump out the shorter form stuff as quickly as possible. And then have this link back to my main channel, Nick Saraev, for automation stuff. And then also start weaving in some sort of, I don't know, start weaving in some sort of like lifestyle component to them. One of the reasons why Iman Gadzhi is so successful is because do you notice how every single one of his clips is like a different background, basically, except for these 2 or 3? Basically, every single one is different. So this is him just like, his life looks very varied and interesting and good, right? Sure, there's stuff like this, but you can't have all of that. You obviously need to go to podcasts. You need to go to various places. You need to talk to all these sorts of people. I'm probably not going to have me in my car understanding anything. That's a Lambo for sure. Probably not going to have me in a Lambo, just because I don't really care about stuff like that. But yeah, that should improve the perception of these reels. And then we just unify them all with the big editing structure, with the big editing series of templates, basically. Same effects, same font, same all that stuff. And then regardless of the fact that it's on 10 different accounts, you just maximize discoverability and reach and research. I don't know how I'm going to get stuff like this. I'm probably not going to do stuff like that, because honestly, I think it's kind of lame. Me at a restaurant, I don't really think that people want to see me in a restaurant. But that's the whole idea. So as you can tell, it's a very loosely thought out strategy right now. I don't actually have anything more than that. I'll probably pay like 3 or 4 grand for 1 month just to test it out and hire editors that just do this thing for me full time. And then assuming that works out, then I'll scale it up. If not, then I won't. But I'm just really finding a lot of success in having as much content out on the internet as humanly possible. I think there's a reason why all of these businesses end up just like eventually converging on, oh, we need a long form podcast because it allows us to, I don't know, nurture people that are just on the edge of buying. We need a way to clip that, turn that into like 1,000,001 shorter form clips to like maximize discoverability of that long form podcast. Oh, we need like a main channel, which posts deep dives and stuff. Oh, then we need like some sort of other channel. And yeah, I think that there's like probably less than 100 people realistically doing what I'm doing right now. I think everybody that does or that did what I am doing right now, like even a year ago, is now like mega crazy successful. So realistically, I mean, with the profit numbers that I'm making, I am already realistically uber successful. I'm sure I don't make as much money as Iman Gadzhi with 1.1 million followers, but I'm probably, I might be more monetized than he is, to be honest, with all the lifestyle stuff that he's posting. So like maybe I have 50K followers, 1/20th of the reach of this one. So 1/40th of this, but maybe I make much, much, much more than 1/40th of the money. Maybe I have 1/40th of his following, but I probably make like 1/10 of his money or something, right? Like my numbers work out a lot better. So realistically, if I just scale up and I hit like 500K followers, I'll probably make more money than this guy. I don't know for sure. I'd have to look into exactly what his business model is and how he's making all of that. Is he with Hezbollah? Yeah, he is. That's hilarious. So yeah, I'm going to wrap that up, but hope you guys appreciated it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys found value in this, obviously, if you could do the fun YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, comment, leave questions down below so that I can answer them in the next video. Hope you guys appreciated the value that I've already dropped. I'm looking forward to continuing to do so. Thank you very much for your time. Cheers.